Hey everybody, this is Greg Civin. Today we're going to be doing the VP problem 4 from section 5.4, number 21. Uh, as you can see, here are our initial or our given values. And from there, we're going to get the matrix from the given information. And that's going to be, first row is 5, 0, -6. Second row is 2, -1, -2. And the third row is 4, -2, -4. Alright, but the characteristic equation of the coefficient matrix is as follows. I'm just going to let you guys see that instead of me telling you what it is. I'm sure it'd work out a little bit faster and easier that way. But from this matrix, you can boil that down, have it equal 0. And you're going to do all this to find your initial values of your Ian. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but that's what we're going to call it today. And so when you boil down that equation, you're going to get the Ian1 is going to be 0, Ian2 is going to be -1, and Ian3 is going to be 1. Alright, so for case 1, we're going to sub in Ian equals 0 into the matrix. Get this. And then it's going to give us these three equations right here. Alright, so now we have to solve for A, B, and C. Now, the way I did it is I solved these two equations and got 5A equals 6C. You're going to sub that in to the 2A minus B minus 2C equals 0. Then we're going to get 5B equals 2C. And then we're going to choose C equals 5R. Then we get A equals 6R and B equals 2R. So the associated Ian vector V1 is R times this matrix when the Ian is 0 and when R equals 1. So our first vector is this guy right here. Alright, so now case 2. We're going to sub in Ian2 equals 1 into it, and then we get this matrix. And then we get these three equations. Going to do the same thing. First, I solved the 4A minus 6C equals 0 and got 3C equals 2A. Now I'm going to sub that in to the 2A minus 2B minus 2C equals 0 and get 2B equals C. Alright, now I'm going to choose that C equals 2T, and I got A equals 3T and B equals T. So the associated Ian vector of the vector 2 equals T to this matrix, with the Ian equals 1 and when T equals 1. So here's our second vector. One more time for case 3. Do the same thing again. Going to sub in the Ian3 equals -1. We get this as our matrix. Boil it down to get this. So first I solved 6A minus 6C equals 0. I got A equals C. Sub that in for 4A minus 2B minus 3C. That should be a 0, sorry. And I got C equals 2B. Now I chose C equals 2S, and I got A equals 2S and B equals S. So the associated Ian vector 3 is S times this matrix when the Ian is -1 and the s equals 1. So the value of our third vector is this. So the solutions of the differential equations with the associated in vectors are these guys right here. So then we have our first vector, second vector, and third vector. So now that we got all that, we're going to plug all these guys into the matrix for the Wronskian solution. Get this guy. And then simplify it. Well, it's not really simplifying, but it's more simple to me. And we're going to get w equals 1, which does not equal 0. So the solutions are all linearly independent. The general solution of the system is going to be x of t equals c1 times x1 of t plus c2 times x2 of t plus c3 x3 of t. And you're just going to plug in your matrices for the x1, x2, and x3. You get this. And then you can boil that down into your three different x1, x2, x3s. For instance, x1 of t equals 6c1 plus 3c2 e to the t plus 2c3 e to the negative t. Our x2 of t is going to be 2c1 plus c2 e to the t plus c3 e to the negative t. And then our x3 of t is going to be 5c1 plus 2c2 e to the t plus 2c3 e to the negative t. So, alright, all done. Hopefully everyone understood that, and hopefully you don't have any questions. Alright, thanks.